Yeah. Okay, so I got the call. You guys were interested in taking a look at the animals, and I think you're gonna have to get somewhere else, Mario. Maybe
I said I
there.
would bring a camera. I said, okay, I'm going to bring a camera. We're going to
Yeah,
come
right. You were
film some
initially you're
animals.
talking to my wife.
Originally, when you said it's photography is allowed, I was
Right,
like, okay, we're going to bring a camera.
right,
It's going to be a video camera,
right,
or
right,
and we're filmmakers, and we're
right,
going to test the camera out.
right. So it was kind of interesting to me that they showed up with this type of equipment because um, uh, I don't know much about it, but you were going on to say that it's you instead of shooting the movie in digital,
Yeah.
you wanted to shoot it with film.
Yes.
And then I asked the question like, why is film so much better? So why is it better for in
I don't know
film?
if it's better, but for the last like pretty much every movie that you grew up loving, pretty much up until 10 years ago, was shot with a camera like this.
Right,
So I don't know. For me, I don't think the movies in the last 10 years, I don't love them as much as the movies I grew up watching. So
right,
I just want the movie that we want to make later to
right,
feel like a movie and
right,
not like sort of
right. So
Netflix
so
TV.
this experiment, if you will, was to see the probability of what filming would be on a movie you're gonna produce.
Yeah. Well, it's
And
also a process thing in that we are sort of trusting that it looks a certain way because now people are just looking at a screen
yeah,
on set. That's me as a director. I'm just like looking at a screen. I'm like, I
right,
think I actually saw what we're doing.
right,
Now I'm sort of trusting my friend here
right,
that it looks right because the only person that really knows what it really looks like is sort of looking through this.
right.
Yeah. And actually, you don't really even see it because it's going like this. Yeah. Because each shutter is a
Oh,
frame.
I see, I see,
Yeah.
I see. You're seeing
But
that shutter.
this is just replicating what this used to do. And like I said, every great movie that you grew up loving used this process. So
Right.
it's interesting that now we're trying to run away from it.
And this process has a different feel. It has a
Absolutely.
different look.
Yeah. You could make the new process look that way. That's what we're kind of trying to prove. We're proving to ourselves or wondering if that's even true.
That it actually has
Yeah. This is a
the difference is perceivable because inside here is a bunch of sort of plastic compounds with basically like chemistry
Right.
on top of it,
Right.
a celluloid, and
Right.
inside here is a digital. It's basically a
it's a
computer
sensor
interpreting.
If you actually look at like this is the camera
Yeah.
and this is the film.
Right.
This is almost similar size, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So the bulk of this is really the
Right.
mag.
But yeah, that one uses ones and zeros instead of the celluloid. So we want to see how much that texture really comes through. So we bring both to really
We shot some turtles with film and
And the movie that you're going to be is it about reptiles or something to do with reptiles? You
it
said
has to do
right.
with it. Yeah,
That's really going to be
it's
interesting.
a South Florida movie.
It is a South Florida
Yeah,
movie,
that's where I
and
grew up.
you folks are South Florida folks.
Well, he is from Virginia, but we met at Florida State University.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
from South Florida, yeah.
So he went through the indoctrination period and became
Exactly.
South
He's
Floridian.
Floridian.
Yeah.
exactly.
And you grew up in New York, and now you live here.
Yeah, but I've been here about 35 years or so.
Wow.
So yeah, that's just it really interests me about why we would use film to go back
Yeah.
and use it instead of digital. And I was kind of interested about that little zoom thing that you guys had. That little zoom
The
lens.
zoom lens. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
that was like
It's a micro zoom. Isn't that really what it is?
Are you talking about this one, the probe lens? Which
Oh,
is the
there it is.
close-up?
It's right there. Yeah.
yeah. So this is like a macro.
Right.
So you can get like right up close to an animal over here.
Right. And is
And
there any benefit to that opposed
this
to
is
digital as opposed to film when you're
no, this looks
close?
This looks
It looks much
Yeah.
the same on digital.
Yeah.
But it's like what we were trying to replicate is kind of like the reptile.
the eye of the reptile.
perspective.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, their eye of the
Yeah,
reptile.
it's
Yeah.
quite
So we thought
wide angle.
The
kind
shot
of,
would be really important, like for all the shots of reptiles' eyes in the movie.
I see.
We're testing out this probe
Right.
to. I think it's a little bit of like a wide angle, kind of like similar to the eye of a
I
reptile.
imagine a reptile when it sees, it probably sees quite in that sort of fisheye
Yeah.
kind of perspective.
Well, I think if they have the eyes on the side of the head
Yeah.
as opposed to forward, then
Yeah.
they have to have that ability. That's the whole idea.
Front and
To
back.
putting the eyes, and the predators have their eyes mounted more close together in the front because they've got to get good depth perception.
Yeah.
So
There's
that would
a lot of chemistry involved with this to make it have a certain look too.
Right.
Which you could do with this as well. And maybe we're fools, and maybe we're just trying to like do an antiquated way of making movies to make it feel better. But I don't know. My suspicion and my hunch is that there's a reason why the movies of the last 10 years haven't been as good, in my opinion,
Right.
as the movies I grew up watching.
Right. I
Maybe it
guess
has to do with money, maybe it has to do with culture and the way things are financed, but maybe it also has a little bit to do with it.
maybe it has a little bit to do of people perceiving, knowing what the difference is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, like I'm sure when you look at a movie, you're looking for those elements, and you know right away, wow, that's fantastic. I see that depth, you know. And somebody who's just shooting things through digital, which really started mostly when people just taking pictures of family and everything, they just wanted to capture the people's faces. They weren't looking for all those elements of high definition technology and everything like that. So
I mean,
it's
I'm not a hater of digital. I think digital is great for, like, you could have your YouTube show.
right,
You can, with your phone, show people your life, which is so interesting. But when it comes to, like, you know, the Hollywood and the culture of, like, film, I
Right.
feel as if movies are less relevant now
Right.
than they used to be.
yeah,
But what is great is that people that are just filming themselves, that has become more relevant than ever.
Right.
TikTok, YouTube,
Right.
and that is honestly some of the best media there is really, I'd rather watch, like, the life of, you know, someone much more interesting than whoever, like, the writers in Hollywood are trying to.
yeah. Well, that's been a big trend. I mean, look at the whole movement towards, you know, we used to call them reality shows. Well, that definition has really changed because, you know, a reality show was when they did all these games and they put people together and they put them on an island or whatever. But today, the reality show is really what those people do in their interesting little lives,
For sure.
you know, and people traveling around the world and seeing these different cultures. I think it's Mike Dolinsky.
Mhm.
You ever see him? He goes. He's been to every country around the world, and he engages with the people in those countries and everything.
What does
Like
he look like?
he's a red-haired, fair
Yeah, I know
red-haired.
exactly what you're talking about.
Isn't it Belinsky?
Yeah,
Belinsky?
it's like he's, I would call him a ginger, and he
Yes, he's a
strawberry
ginger.
blonde, yeah, and he goes to, like,
All these,
Middle Eastern countries, anywhere.
every country in the world he's
Africa,
visited now, and he goes right to the people and he talks to the people and the culture.
And I'm sure it's not always easy. I'm sure
No,
he has some
I'm sure it's not
problems.
easy, but you know that to me was I was watching something real, and I like
yeah.
that watching something real part.
It's more interesting than
It's
watching,
because
like,
it's
a bad
real.
story.
Yeah, exactly. So
And also, it's interesting that, like, we're all in our world, everyone's talking about the Oscars. No one was the least watched Oscars of all time, and I think it's because people are sick of. There's no mystique behind, like, what celebrities are doing because we hear about them all the time.
yeah,
We're actually rather hear about, like that individual you just mentioned,
right.
and their lives because
Yeah.
they seem more interesting.
Yeah. Well, it was great. It was great, folks. So
Thanks for having us.
We hope you got a little bit of what you needed.
yeah, I did. So anyway, it's Xander,
Yeah.
and this is Matt,
Yes.
and this is
Josh.
Josh. Nice meeting you,
And Leah.
folks. Leah, let's not
Leah,
forget
the
Leah.
camera assistant.
Yeah.
She did a wonderful
Great.
job.
Normally,
She took that
normally
thing
when you see
apart
one
and
of
put
these
it
cameras,
together.
you see, like, 30 people.
Yeah.
A bunch of, like catering trucks. What we call, like, a honey wagon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, places to go pee. And it's just a bunch of garbage.
So anyway,
It's nice to see it just up
So you
and
don't
close and
need any of
personal.
that stuff.
Exactly.
I
Yeah,
don't think
exactly.
that-
so you guys got a chance. Was there anything that interested you? I mean, what did you see that was most interesting?
The turtles were amazing.
Yeah,
Like, just
the giant tortoises.
Yeah. Learning how old they were. I liked hearing your perspective on just, like, conservation and the, like, kind of dispelling some of the myths of some of the fear mongering that is.
Right. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. That's what we try to do as
Yeah.
what I call ambassadors for the animals.
Yeah.
We're an ambassador, so we got to bring visibility to conservation and understanding the animals and everything. And that's where, you know, you're able to help people and you're able to help the animals and everything really thrive. And so part of what I try to do is I put a lot of videos out there about care and recognizing disease and what to do about it. So these folks that are bringing in some of these new exotic animals have a resource to go to see exactly, you know, what you need to do to take care of that animal and how interesting they are. A lot of people focus just on color and size and everything.
Yeah.
One of the things I try to bring to it is the behavior of the animal.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't see the behavior of them. Once you start looking at the behavior in some of these animals, these iguanas and these tortoises, it becomes really the biggest part that captures you.
Mhm.
You know, initially you might have done it because of the color or how the size, But when you think about the behavior, it's just amazing to me.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's a wrap, folks.
Oh,
Thanks so much.
All right,
what a
take care.
pleasure.